My wife slept with her ex to get pregnant and make me believe it was mine. Now she's begging me to forgive her. I never imagined writing this, but I suppose there comes a point where you need to let go of what you've been through to move forward. I'm not writing this to heal old wounds or convince anyone of anything. I just need to tell my story. Because even though at first I felt like I lost everything, now I understand that what I left behind wasn't worth as much as I thought. When I started dating Julia, she told me she'd been single for years and was no longer interested in games or complicated relationships. Over time, in one of those conversations where you start to learn more about each other, she mentioned an ex-boyfriend who had been important to her. She said their relationship ended when he moved to another state for his career, leaving her behind, and that it left her pretty broken. But she also told me that was in the past, that she'd moved on, and now she just wanted to build something real, something stable, with someone who wouldn't leave, with someone like me. I believed her. I bought into that role, the guy who came to give her what the other didn't want, what she deserved. I committed to that story because I wanted to believe she was too. And for a while, everything seemed to fit. For a time, I thought I'd found the person I could grow old with. We took care of each other, supported each other, and talked about having kids as something natural, the next logical step. I felt like everything was heading in the right direction. But I was wrong. My ex-wife betrayed me when I needed her most, did it without remorse, and then expected me to forget it like it was nothing. I don't know if she regrets what happened, but I don't anymore. Today I have a completely different life, and though sometimes that old version of me tries to slip through the cracks, the truth is I'm at peace. This is what happened. This is what I lost. And this is everything I gained. I was 33 when everything started falling apart. I work as a tech consultant for small businesses, which gives me stability and plenty of time at home. I'm not rich, but we never lacked anything. My ex-wife, Julia, and I had been married for 6 years by then. From the outside, our life seemed stable. We made long-term plans, shared goals, and talked about our future as if it were guaranteed. We'd started looking for a bigger house, and most importantly for us at the time, we wanted to start a family. In the early years of marriage, everything flowed with a certain harmony. We had our arguments like any couple, of course, but nothing that made me doubt her or us. Julia was attentive, fun, emotionally open. She made me feel like I was enough, like I'd found someone who truly wanted to share life with me. I can't deny I felt lucky. Everything seemed to move forward naturally, like two people rowing in the same direction. When we decided to have kids, we did it with excitement. At first, it was thrilling, like a new chapter, but months passed and nothing happened. We tried not to obsess, not to rush things, but eventually, anxiety crept into our routines. Each failed attempt brought a small dose of frustration, though we masked it as patience. Julia would say everything would come in its own time, that we shouldn't pressure ourselves. But something didn't sit right with me. There was an unease I couldn't shake. That's when I decided to get tested on my own. I didn't tell Julia. I wanted to rule out any issues before worrying her unnecessarily. I didn't do it out of distrust. I did it because I felt it was my responsibility. The result hit me hard. I had a fertility problem. Not untreatable, but serious enough to explain what was happening. I remember leaving the clinic feeling like something inside me had shattered, not because of the diagnosis itself, but because of what it might mean for her, for us. It took me a couple of days to muster the courage to tell her. It was tough. I felt exposed, even fragile. But one night, over dinner, I told her. I didn't dress it up, I just laid out the truth. Julia looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read, got up, hugged me, and said it didn't matter, that we were in this together, that we'd figure it out as a team like everything else. At that moment, I thought she'd reacted with remarkable maturity. I felt relieved, even grateful. I convinced myself that kind of support was rare. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything we'd been through. My jaw was clenched, a pressure in my chest I couldn't pin down, fear or wounded pride, I wasn't sure. I'm not someone who falls apart easily, but that news struck a vulnerability I didn't know I had. Still, I told myself the important thing was that I had her, that we'd get through it. I thought shared pain would bring us closer, but I was wrong. Very wrong. A couple of months had passed since I told Julia about my diagnosis. We kept trying with the same hope, or so I thought. She seemed enthusiastic, acted as usual, even more attentive toward me. She'd say that no matter how, we'd have a family. And though I still carried the sting of the news, I started to believe we were stronger than ever. But then I began noticing things I didn't know how to process. Small changes. Julia started going out more often to see her friends. She'd come back happy, sometimes almost giddy. She talked to me with an easy smile and constantly sought intimate moments with me, like she was trying to reinforce something. Yet something felt off. Once, I noticed her step into the hallway to take a call. Another time she left her phone face down, something she never used to do. They weren't concrete proof, but the buildup started to gnaw at me. One Saturday night, we went to a small gathering with a couple of close friends. Soft music, drinks, and casual conversations in the backyard. At one point, someone jokingly asked if the baby was on the way. Julia laughed and, with an enthusiasm that struck me as excessive, said yes, we were trying really hard and there'd be news soon. Everyone cheered, except one person. One of her closest friends, Mariana, stayed silent. She gave an awkward smile, looked away, and took a sip from her glass. Felt strange. I watched her a few seconds longer. Mariana avoided Julia's gaze. Soon after, she excused herself, saying she had to make a call. That same night, as I was unwinding in the living room, nearly ready for bed, I got a message from Mariana. She begged me not to tell Julia, but said she couldn't handle the guilt anymore, that what my wife was doing was insane and I deserved to know. I sat up, heart pounding. The message continued. She told me Julia had reconnected with her ex-boyfriend a few weeks earlier. He was in town for work just for a month and they'd been meeting in secret. Julia, desperate to get pregnant, had decided to sleep with him behind my back multiple times to boost her chances. Her plan was to hide it and make me believe the baby was mine. She says she's doing it out of love, because you deserve to be a father and she doesn't want to see you sad. But this isn't right, Mariana wrote. She attached screenshots of their chat. In one, Julia said, "He agreed. I can't believe it. It just took some convincing. If we do it a few times this week, the chances are better. I'm so nervous but excited." Another read, "We did it again today. He hugged me after and said he hoped it worked. I don't know what to think, but if this gives us a baby, it'll be worth it." And another, "I won't tell him anything. Ever. He just needs to think it's his. It's for our future." I didn't confront her right away. I could have, right then that night, phone in hand, messages open, fury raging inside me. I could have stormed into the living room and thrown it all in her face. But I didn't. Not because I lacked words, I had plenty. I lacked the space to keep from doing something reckless. If I'd stood up in that state, anger overflowing, I didn't know what I might have done. And I wasn't going to give her that. I wouldn't yell, break things, or let her see me unravel. I wanted to look her in the eyes and say everything, but do it right, cold, with the clarity to make it sting as it should. So I swallowed it that night. Got into bed beside her like nothing was wrong. She hugged me, said goodnight. I lay still. I didn't sleep. I listened to her breathe calmly while I replayed every message in my mind, every word, every line dripping with that sickening complicity. I thought about everything. Her. Me. What she'd ruined. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. We were at breakfast and she was talking about setting up the baby's room just in case. I listened in silence. When she got up to wash the dishes, I said, "Leave them. We need to talk." She stopped, turned to me. Her smile faltered for a split second. "Is something wrong?" she asked as if she didn't know. "Yes." I leaned back, arms crossed, eyes locked on hers. "I'd like to know how long you've been sleeping with your ex." Silence. She looked stunned for a moment, like she couldn't believe I'd said it. "What?" "Don't play dumb. You know exactly what I mean. I've got the messages, Julia. All of them. Yours with Mariana. Yours with him. This whole secret scheme to get pregnant without telling me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. My tone cut through sharp and sure. She went pale, clutching the edge of the sink like the ground had vanished beneath her. Then she started crying. No, it wasn't like that. I just wanted— What did you want? A kid? A cute story? Or to keep me quiet with the idea of a family while you were with someone else behind my back? I did it for us, she whimpered, stepping toward me. I love you. For us. Don't make me laugh. You did it for you. Because you needed everything to go your way. Because I wasn't enough as I was. You were broken. I just wanted to help you. And sleeping with your ex was part of the fix? Or was that your own brilliant idea? She reached for me. I stepped back. Don't you dare. She froze. You don't know how hard this decision was for me. Hard? For you? I gave a dry laugh. A week ago you wrote, if we do it a few times the chances are better. She sank into a chair, sobbing into her hands. But I was out of empathy. Are you leaving? Right now? What? I'm not sleeping under the same roof as someone capable of this. So call whoever you want, your parents, your friends. But you're not staying here tonight. She opened her mouth, tried to speak, but nothing came out. She stood, shaky, went to the bedroom and started packing. I heard her call her mom, sobbing. I didn't step in. I just sat there, staring at the cold breakfast, a hollow ache in my chest, hands icy, not from sadness but disgust. A week passed since Julia left, but the drama didn't end there. Far from it. That's when the ugliest part started, the campaign to make me forgive her. First, her mom called one night, her voice thick with forced suffering, like I'd ruined everything. She didn't even ask how I was, not a word, just talked about Julia. She's devastated, son. Won't leave her bed, won't eat, just cries. She loves you, says she messed up, that it was a moment of madness. I stayed quiet, let her go on. Every word felt rehearsed, hollow. You're a beautiful couple. You can't throw it all away over one mistake. You've got such a lovely history, been through so much. Then I spoke. Would you forgive your husband if you found out he was trying hard to get his ex pregnant? Silence. Long, awkward seconds. Well, that's not the same. Of course not. Because I'm the one who was betrayed. I hung up. 2 days later, her dad texted, wanting to talk, like men. We met at a cafe near his place. He showed up looking like he was mourning, shirt buttoned to the collar, like a widower. Look, kid, I get it. I'd be mad too. But a real man doesn't let pride eat him up. A real man fights for his family. I didn't respond at first, just listened. He had that condescending, fatherly tone like he was teaching me life. Julia screwed up, sure, but that doesn't erase what you had. We all mess up. Sometimes women do wild things when they're insecure. You've got to be strong enough to forgive. I laughed, short, no humor. You're right, Don Roll. We all make mistakes. He smiled, relieved, thinking he'd hooked me. But not everyone sleeps with an ex behind their partner's back while pretending to try for a kid together. That's not a mistake, it's perverse. He froze, his face shifting like I'd hit him. I stared, steady, voice even. If being a real man means choking that down, I'll stick to being me, a guy with a clear head and no horns. I stood. He tried to speak, but I didn't let him. I'd heard enough. I walked out. Then came the worst, her friend, the one I never liked. Not jealousy, not insecurity, just her vibe. She loved drama more than friendship, grinned when others cried, always sniffing for gossip. She'd been too nosy about us, making comments that weren't her place, once joking how Julia and I were so different she didn't get how we lasted. I never trusted her. Sure enough, she jumped to Julia's defense first. Sent me a long message, no hello, no, how are you, just a sermon like I was some kid to scold. I can't watch you ruin something so beautiful. Julia messed up, yeah, but you helped push her there, cold, distant. She was lonely. It wasn't planned, it happened. Now you're cruel. Will you really let pride steal the love of your life? I shot back one line. Are you mad I never noticed you, or do you think sharing mascara gives you a say? No reply. No ha. No rude. Nothing. Silence, like she'd finally run out of script. That week, they all took turns painting me as the bad guy, like not forgiving was worse than betraying. But I stayed calm. Didn't yell, didn't curse, just said what mattered. My dignity's not for sale, especially not to them. While they were at it, my lawyer was already on the divorce. I didn't broadcast it, didn't warn anyone. Why state the obvious? After what she'd done, there was no negotiating, no emotional breaks. I decided, and no one would sway me. I figured Julia would go quietly, wrong again. She fought tooth and nail, first denying it, acting like we were just in a slump, then excuses, letters, messages full of nostalgia and empty promises. She loved me, she'd do anything, start over. Begged for a talk, one last shot, a truce, a sign. I gave her nothing. Responded only what the law needed, respectful but firm. Some days she'd seem ready to sign, others she'd back off. 2 weeks of that, like she thought stalling would break me, like she still had a grip on me. But that old me, the one who took it, stayed quiet, tried to save a corpse, was dead. When she finally signed, no relief showed, just anger and defeat, the look of someone who knows they've lost control, that it's been 3 years since the divorce. How am I now? Simple, at peace. It wasn't instant, but things settled. 8 months post-divorce, I met my wife. It started with work. Meetings, projects, coffee breaks, nothing big. Then we talked more, laughed at dumb stuff, swapped stories. Before I knew it, I felt something I thought was gone. Hope. I wasn't looking, I swear, not ready to love or trust. But life shows you new roads sometimes. With her it's different, clear. I don't have to prove anything, just be. We married after a 1.5 years. Months ago she gave me the best news of my life. We're having a kid. That's when it all clicked. She got pregnant naturally, no treatments, no clinics, no stress. I had to wonder, what went wrong before? Were the doctors off? Was I not infertile? She pushed me to retest just to know. I did, expecting little. But I'm not sterile, below average, yeah, but capable naturally, just less likely. Then word trickled in, people who knew Julia, old friends, saying she tried for a family with someone else and failed. After flops, she finally tested. Result, irreversible infertility. That was always the issue, she just didn't know. We'd assumed it was me, I tested, she didn't. I took the blame, she stayed quiet. Easier to pin it on me than face the truth. They say she can't hold a relationship now. Guys leave when family talk starts and it all cracks. I don't relish her pain, but I won't fake pity, not after what she did. My only regret? Believing in a love that wasn't real, betting on someone who lied, manipulated, betrayed without a blink. I held on to a mirage she smashed. Took me too long to see it, but that taught me too. Now I've got no doubts, just something real, healthy, something I'd never have if I'd stayed in that lie. What I lost wasn't worth what I thought.